We're joined this week by the CEO and founder of QHI National, one of Australia's biggest home improvement companies, Scott Challen. He's an outspoken critic of our country's excessive love affair with big government and bureaucracy. And he's someone who produces a lot of content online about his views under the handle Chal on Instagram and X and TikTok. Mate, I saw one of your posts that you got kicked out of the Liberal Party, probably for being too much of a classical liberal and too conservative. That usually is what gets you kicked out of the Liberal Party these days. What happened there?
Yeah, it's a bit of a funny story. I joined in 22 after Morrison lost the election, and obviously very frustrated with COVID and having seen what's going on with my country. I'm an ex-ADF veteran, so I'm a patriot at heart. Thought I'd get involved, and look, I really did enjoy my time the couple of years that I was in. But one of the reasons I joined the Liberals was because of Jared Rennick, and his position during COVID. I thought that he was a shining light of free thinking in the Senate that was able to convey a real strong message with regards to freedom and liberty. And so it was
smart
a
economic mind too.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, he is a super smart guy. And fortunately, I got to know him quite well during my couple of years in the party. Now, I was at the Liberal Party convention when they ran the coup d'etat and done him over at the convention. He lost by a couple of votes for his Senate reselection. It was a dodgy process. He took the Liberal Party to court. Bit of a backstory there, and I'm sure plenty of people have heard it before.
And there's probably a counter to that story we should point out as well, so I don't want to get sued.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I hear
of course
things go on in politics.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And look, he lost his position, didn't get the opportunity to run for his Senate seat again, and decided to run as an independent. Now, there were plenty of us in the room in the Liberal Party at two conventions where we watched this unfold who were big fans of Jared Rennick.
Right.
So what they basically did by pushing him aside was pushed a bunch of us aside. And so you look, in a cheeky manner, I made a video saying, don't vote for Jared Rennick, do not vote for this man. And the Liberal Party went, yeah, we're going to kick you out for that. Now, the Liberal Party are very, very scared of alternative media, TikTok and loud voices, especially people like myself with a personality. I've made a ton of content about how bad the Labor Party were and the Albanese government was. They didn't take any of that into consideration. That didn't matter.
No.
They just went, this one piece of content I made where I said, don't vote for Jared Rennick in a cheeky way, and they booted me out for that.
Yeah.
And it was funny because when I got the call about it, I was right in the middle of helping put together a modular housing policy that we were trying to get through to Janetsky's office about trying to increase housing supply.
That's David Janetsky, the Queensland Treasurer.
Yeah.
LNP Treasurer. Okay.
Yep. So
right.
we were doing good work on the inside to try and solve problems, and bang, out just like that.
Yeah, it's all about. Yeah, well, anyway, we've talked about it a lot on the show, and I want to stick to economics rather than politics this week.
Yeah.
Let's just say we're here.
I thought I could change the beast from the inside, but you can't.
No, a lot of people thought that. Yeah, it's a shame, and maybe it can happen eventually, but there's problems. Hey, I want to talk about Matt Barrie. He's a very popular and well-known Aussie tech entrepreneur globally, best known as the founder and CEO of Freelancer.com. He's been on the other side in the past. He's been recognised with lots of awards and things for the tech industry all over the globe, and he shares a lot of your views, the things that you espouse. So I want to just play this clip of Matt from an interview he did with Equity Mates, the Equity Mates podcast, another great podcast a few months back. Have a look.
You would think a country with 1,200 years of coal supply would be an energy superpower. You would think a country with 28% of the world's uranium reserves would be an energy superpower. You would think a country with 20% of the world's gas exports, sometimes number one in the world for gas exports, sometimes number two in the world for gas exports, would be an energy superpower. You would think a country with 3.46 people per square kilometre would have cheap land and cheap housing, right? You would think a country that has, well, what is it? Something like we're third in the world for production of cobalt. We have 47% of the world's lithium production. We are fifth in the world for the production of, sixth in the world for production of copper, fifth in the world for the production of nickel. You'd think we'd be an energy and electronic and mechanical engineering superpower. We control 56% of the world's iron ore exports. You would think we'd be a steel superpower. We have cheap energy and we have abundant iron ore, and we turn that and elaborately transform that and other materials we have to become an export powerhouse. We should be the richest country in the world. Full stop. We have everything, right? But instead, we have the greatest erosion of wealth in the developed world, right? We have a cost of living crisis that is the mother of all cost of living crises. We have We have house pricing that is astronomically expensive. It doesn't make any sense anywhere in the world. Where a terrace house in Wallara is the same price as a cruise ship.
Mate, we should be the richest country in the world, right? We should be all just cruising along. I mean, look at the Emiratis in the UAE. All right, they don't pay any tax. They're all driving Mercedes Benz.
Yeah,
it's like, and here we are.
They've only got oil.
That's right. They've only got oil. We've got coal. We got gas. It takes a lot to screw up a country this lucky, and we're doing a good job of it.
It's taken multiple generations to make it happen, but I think we come back to that safety regulation part of the Australian society. Our psyche is geared up for how safe can we make this place, and by doing that, we've locked ourselves down and signed ourselves up to treaties and organisations that just undermine our ability to be an independent nation and to be sovereign thinkers. We should be an energy superpower around the world. We literally export way more than we use, and we've got all the capacity to create our own industries here. But what did we do? We decided to offshore all of that and undermine the future of our own kids in this country for a housing sector propped up by the world's most profitable banks. And this is what we get.
And you're in that sector, but it's not the economy of that sector is distorted. It's
massively.
Not the building industry. It's not the labourers and the tradies. That industry could actually produce so much more cost effectively, and solve the problem could be solved.
Yep.
It's the exploitation of that industry by government sucking up 40 to 48% of the cost of every damn house that's built.
Yep.
And with red tape costs and taxes. And it's the banks.
And we've layered in this net zero compliance stuff that we're heading towards. So the way we
the
build
energy cost,
so the energy savings that have to go into a new home build now, the 7-star energy ratings, not to mention the future proofing for NDIS in the housing code now. We're setting ourselves up for a massive fail. We've built all these costs into the production of a new home that's made houses so unaffordable, and then layered in heaps of people too. Matt makes a really good point. With cheap energy, we could be more competitive, but we won't let ourselves do that because we have to flagellate ourselves on the altar of saving the planet. For some reason, Australia's less than 1% of global emissions is going to make the difference between life and death going forward.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And cheap energy is the crux of everything.
Yep.
If we don't have cheap energy, we don't have cheap anything.
Well, there's a couple of parts to that. Cheap energy is one part of it, but you could look at places in the US, right, where they have really cheap energy and still don't have a manufacturing sector. So what you've got to do is you've got to have the right incentives to build, which is good labor laws, entrepreneurial spirit, incentives for businesses to want to grow, add in cheap electricity, and give us a flexible environment where we can take risks without losing everything if it all goes sideways. Look, I'm a business owner that puts everything on the table every single day when I step into put my boots on and walk out the door. And that's been like that ever since I decided to open the company in 2009. There's a million of us out there. You're doing the same thing yourself, Damian. It's big, it's risky. We are all in on this stuff that we do, and we should be rewarded and given some incentives to do that, but we're not. We just keep hitting the wall constantly.
Yeah. And Matt Barry says it's all basically this just government policy. It's fixable because so much of it comes down to just stroke of a pen government policy, and we just seem to be run by a political class that doesn't seem to have our best interests at heart.
What we're going to do is we're going to forget how quickly you think governments can pivot. Now, when COVID happened, what happened, mate? Overnight. We saw things change overnight. Bang, 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 bang. It could be done. All we need here is political will, but we have gutless leaders. We don't have anyone in. There's a couple of great people in there, but their voices are shouted down.
We don't have an opposition. We don't have an opposition.
No, we don't.
That's the problem. Let's have a listen a bit more of Matt from that interview with Equity Mates.
So we have a cost of living crisis caused by input costs such as land and wages, which comes back to land. We have an energy crisis through very poor energy policy, where we'll export all the raw materials to build renewable generators, which are energy negative on the energy that's consumed to get the materials out of the ground, which ship back to us are unreliable, which we can't, and as a result of such, we can't run a reliable manufacturing industry in this country. Manufacturing as a percentage of gross value add is 5.39%, which is on par with Botswana, where you go see cheetahs. It's on par with Liechtenstein, which is a financial haven. It has dropped from about 15, 16, 17, 18, 19% to 5%. It's about 1/3 what of the average is for the OECD. We literally, this country is going to hell in a handbasket. We are 93rd in the Harvard Economic Complexity Index in terms of the complexity of things that we produce and how sophisticated they are and how much people can replicate them. Our economy, in terms of sophistication and complexity, is on par with Equatorial Guinea, where they don't have a cinema in the entire country, right? And so it is all being caused by government policy, which can be turned around on a dime.
Yeah. Government policy. It's all been caused by government policy. And that point he makes about our lack of breadth of diversity of industries and things like that's a point he's been making since the House of Cards piece that went viral that they wrote a few years back.
Yeah.
But it's just, it is a house of cards because we don't, it's all built on, housing, which is sitting on top of mining and digging stuff out of the ground, which is fine, but somehow we're just, it's just people on the take. Essentially like in the bureaucracy.
And an ever-growing bloated blob bureaucracy, I call it. Matt's got a really important voice here, and he makes, he's a successful tech entrepreneur, and he sees these issues, and we need really good, strong leaders who can identify where those problems are, point it out, and then let's get to work trying to fix those problems and those issues. We've had plenty of reviews over the years. The Henry Tax Review should have solved half of these tax problems that we currently have in this country. Got done, spent a bunch of money on it, got put on a shelf, let it sit there. We're going to have a productivity roundtable in August. Are you looking forward to 15% GST?
Yeah, 15% GST.
Are you looking forward to an excuse to import more people into this country? Because this is how they will solve the productivity problem, by telling you that our skills crisis needs to be solved with more people coming in here. Now, that's not going to be a solution. It's only going to get worse.
Yeah, well, it just makes the housing problem worse. 100%. And a 15% GST just makes inflation a hell of a lot worse.
Yeah, I mean, it's even harder for the people on the bottom run already.
It's funny how the solution is never to cut the size of government.
Oh, look, I'd be okay with an increase in GST if we offset that with an income tax cut. But you know as well as I do, Damian, that's not going to happen. Yeah. When they brought in the GST, they were meant to get rid of payroll tax and stamp duty.
Yep.
What do we still got? Payroll tax and stamp duty. Didn't happen. It doesn't happen. This government is addicted to cash. They will not let go of the money, and they will continue to do everything they can to take a slice off.
All governments are addicted to cash because humans are addicted to cash and self-interest, and that's socialism and why socialism doesn't work. And I don't know why after 200 years we haven't worked that out yet. But anyway, there you go. We'll continue with the message. Mate, thanks very much for coming on. Look forward to having you on the show a bit more regularly.
Pleasure. Absolutely. Love your work, Damian. Big fan, and keep doing what you do, mate.
Thanks, mate. Take care. Did you know that with a virtual private network, or VPN, on your computer, tablet, or phone, you can log into your favorite streaming services like Netflix from home with an internet address from anywhere in the world and watch all the shows that they offer in other countries, including stuff in different languages? And using a VPN to route all your internet traffic through a third-party server means that big corporations and big government can't spy on you. If you sign up now with private internet access, we think they're the best VPN servers out there, as a viewer of The Other Side, you can get 83% off the price of your subscription and get online for less than $3 a month. Check it out right now. Go to piavpn.com/otherside. That's piavpn.com/otherside. It's a great service, a rock bottom price, and supporting our sponsor, you are helping to keep The Other Side going and growing. That was a segment clip from our weekly Friday night news show, The Other Side, which you can watch in full by simply going to YouTube and searching up The Other Side Australia. Then you'll find our full shows playlist. You can also find all of our full shows and our segments on our own website, othersidetv.com.au. That's othersidetv.com.au. Help us build a whole new Aussie media by joining us over there and signing up for the exclusive side.